Hey everybody, and welcome back. As you've been watching this series as we've been going through and pulling cable, you know that we've been replacing the old CAT5 with CAT6A, and I think some people may be slightly confused by a couple things, and I wanted to clear those up and explain why I'm using what I'm using. So if you've noticed, I've been pulling two colors of cable. One is purple and one is blue. I'm using the blue to designate anything that's data related, and I've been using the purple specifically for anything that'll be attached to the security system cameras. If you've ever been in a network closet that is completely jacked up and you've had to try to trace some cable out, you know it becomes very much a pain in the backside. So I've always been of the habit of trying to color code my cables as much as possible, and that helps me out. But what I'm using is CAT6A Plenum shielded twisted pair from True Cable. Theirs is bandwidth tested up to 750 megahertz. It's suitable for both 1 gigabit and 10 gigabit Ethernet. So I've been putting basically a 10 gig Ethernet into the house. It's good up to 328 feet before you would need some kind of repeater. It's ANSI and TIA 568.2D compliant, ROHS 3 compliant. It supports power over Ethernet, PoE Plus and PoE Plus, which is IEEE 802.3 AFAT and BT, and supports 100 watts of power going through it. But I think some people are kind of confused about why I'm paying out the extra money for Plenum cable instead of some of the other cable out there. So if you're not aware, there's three types of cable. There's patch cable that you can get in rolls. There's riser cable, and then there's Plenum cable. So what's the difference really between riser and Plenum? So let's define that. A riser is a term given to a vertical shaft or series of rooms within a building. Basically, those are used for utilities, electrical, water supplies, or some kind of communication cabling. The riser could be a separate room on each floor. A lot of times that's used in commercial buildings. So if I'm going between, say, the first floor, the second floor, or the third floor, etc., I'd be using riser cable in there. And any kind of room like that doesn't have any kind of air handling or life safety equipment in there that could cause the spread of fire. So that's what a riser is. Plenum is a separate space. Think about like a drop ceiling. In most of the office spaces, you go into there and they have the big squares on the ceiling. The actual ceiling is above that, usually anywhere between 1 and 5 feet above there. And then they put the drop ceiling in, and that's where the lights would be hung. That's where a lot of your data cables would be hung. And that's also where a lot of your HVAC and air handling system is. You'll see the ducts where they come in and they downdraft either heated or cooled area into the workspace, but the actual air handler is between the ceiling and the drop ceiling, and what it does is it pulls air up into there, puts it through the HVAC system, and then back down into the space. So the concern is that let's say, a electrical cable up there, or say a light fixture or something else starts and catches on fire, it's going to suck in all that smoke in that space and then push it back to where all the people are. So that is what would be considered a plenum. So when you put any kind of data cable up there, they have specific fire standards up there. So most people think that's for noxious gas, but it's actually more for, I'm not going to get into a ton of heavy detail in regards to like National Electric Code ratings or International Mechanical Codes. Or NFPA. So I'll put a bunch of links down below. So if you really want to deep dive some of this stuff, you're welcome to. I'm just going to try to kind of keep it high level. But in general, part of the testing for a Plenum rated cable includes ensuring that the cable exhibits a maximum peak optical density of 0.5 or less, an average optical density of 0.15 or less, and a maximum fire spread distance of 5 feet or less. Now, what are we talking about this optical density? Well, that's smoke. So the fear is that something will catch on fire and the HVAC system or some other means of air movement will push a ton of smoke down to where people are, and they won't be able to see to get out. So that's what they're talking about when it comes to optical density of burning material, right? And then also flame spread of 5 feet or less. So for me, this is my home, right? So we're talking about building codes for commercial buildings and commercial structures. But if you remember when we did the initial walkthrough where I showed you the closet, and I'll roll that video in just a second, we looked at where the linen closet is that I'm putting all this network equipment in. And if you go right around the corner, you'll see the old HVAC thermostat controller, and right below that is an air intake. And then I'm probably going to end up putting in a just passive vent at the top of the closet to allow heat to escape. But even if I didn't put that, where those cables are in the network equipment and that sort of thing is right around the corner from where the air is getting pulled into my house. And I'm assuming most people that are putting network cable into their homes, whether it's new construction or they're refurbing their house like mine, probably has an air intake for their HVAC system in general somewhere in the hallway or somewhere very nearby. We're not talking about a 1 million square foot commercial building. We're talking about a home that's somewhere between 1,500 and 5,000 square feet. So for me, paying the extra cost for putting in Plenum, which is, if you think about the difference between a roll of regular cable, let's say it's somewhere between $100 and $150, where the Plenum cable is $500. So I'm using 2 rolls. It's cost me an extra $800, right? But for me, in the safety of my family, because I've got enough cable running in here, if there was ever a fire, I want to ensure as much life safety for my family as possible. So, my best friend, as you know, has been helping me out in the house, and he's done quite a bit of electrical work. In fact, he was a journeyman for quite a long time. And he was even asking me, why are you putting Plenum in here? We've never done that before. They had either pulled, in commercial spaces, riser cable, even though they were kind of in drop ceilings. I was like, well, I don't think that was against within code. And I went through and showed him a bunch of the guidelines and the international building codes and the mechanical codes and the NEC references. And we got to talking about this. So for me personally, my recommendation would be to, if you're putting in cable into your home, I would not let someone put cable in that's not Plenum. And that's me personally, because even though it technically is not a Plenum space, because those codes, again, are built around commercial codes, the cable is coming into wherever you're pulling your demarc back to, your demarcation point. Like for me, and it's my network closet. If all those cables caught on fire, number one, I want to make sure that they're burning at a slow rate, which gives me more time to react. So when we get into the security series, one of the things we're going to talk about is time to react, to do something, right? To be notified by the fire alarm system that there is smoke in the area, which could be a fire or just the beginning of a fire, so you can react to that, but also to get out, right? So if I've got all these cables in this room, they need to burn at as slow a rate as possible, and they don't need to put out, they need to put out as little smoke as possible to give myself, family, friends time to get out of the house. So that's why, at least in my residential space, I would personally recommend that you use all Plenum cable. So that is my take on it. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope that gives you some information. Again, there's a ton of links down below that I'll put into NEC references and that sort of thing. So if you really want to deep dive this, you're welcome to. And the great thing about this is that because I am putting this into my house, I'm going to do a giveaway. As soon as I hit 100,000 subscribers, I will do a random drawing and I will give 2,000-foot rolls of true cable CAT6A shielded twisted pair Plenum cable. So there's a couple of caveats to that. Number one, if you want 2 different colors, I will give you 2 different colors. You can't choose something like plaid because they don't make it. But if you decide to choose, say, blue and purple like I have done because you want to change the coloring to make it easier for you to trace in your house, I will be more than happy to let you choose 2 colors. And the caveat to that is only if it's in stock. So if you choose blue and purple and they're out of stock of purple, you'll have to choose a different color. But for as soon as I get 100,000 subscribers, I will take the subscriber list and do a rand function and choose someone to win 2,000-foot rolls of cable. Awesome. Talk to you later. Bye.